WNEM 5, serving Bay City, Saginaw, Flint, and Midland.
The final day of May dawns with an explosion of sound and fury as a spring storm packing a powerful punch devours the middle of Michigan, crushing, snapping, destroying whatever got in its way. When the sun rose, the cleanup began. The recovery was underway, but for some, this was a day from which there will be no recovery.
She was alive for 20 minutes. She laid there wiggling her toes and talking to me. I asked her if she's okay. She said, "No, I'm dying."
Good evening and welcome to this special one-hour edition of News 5 at 6. I'm Sam Merrill. Long and very difficult day for a lot of people across our region. Damage, devastation, even death. Certainly a lot to tell you about tonight. We will begin it all in the heart of Bay City, which appears to be one of the areas hardest hit by this sunrise storm. News 5's Jay Brandow has been following the storm since early this morning. He joins us now live in Bay City. Jay?
Sam, it was just after 6 o'clock this morning when winds in excess of 100 miles an hour ripped through Bay County, causing so much damage that the officials say it could be a full week before the county's electricity is fully restored.
The full fury of Mother Nature's wake-up call wasn't fully realized until sunrise. Gale force winds pulled up trees like weeds from a garden.
This morning we had about 77 knots, a little bit more, which equals to about 100, 110 miles per hour.
Any idea how long those winds stayed at that speed?
It was a good 2 or 3 minutes.
Trees and wires weren't the only victims in this storm. A billboard supported by twin steel I-beams slammed to the ground by the wind.
I was over in that booth at the Sunoco station.
What'd you see?
I just saw it, the whole sign just kind of twist and then just fall. It just came down. And I hit the floor and hope for the best.
Bay City firefighters combed the city for people who may have been trapped inside their homes by falling trees. But one Bay City resident who spent years working on his vintage home took it all in stride.
I think that in 6 months it'll look great.
How many years, how much time you got in here?
10 years and just about every day a slave to this place.
And when you got up today and saw the damage?
I said, everybody's okay.
Fix-It crews at City Hall in Bay City have a timely job on their hands, but first they'll have to find the hands from the South Clock Tower and all the rest of the pieces before repairs can begin.
And a lot of work remains before Bay County gets back to normal. The Bay County Emergency Services Director Paul Cormier joins us live with an update on the very latest of the situation. Paul?
Yeah, I've been all over Bay County today, and we found out the damage is much more widespread than we had originally thought. We've had down power lines everywhere. Virtually every street in the county has sustained some type of damage, either from down power lines or tree branches. We have traffic lights that are out. We have power lines that still have power going through them on the streets, and tonight it's going to be even worse because there won't be any lights to illuminate them to show you where they are.
Very dangerous city tonight. What's the word for folks if they're going to go out this evening?
Stay in your homes. It's the safest place to be tonight. Let the crews attend to their business. And the fewer cars in the street, the faster they'll get it done.
Okay, Paul Cormier, Bay County Emergency Services Director. The biggest danger right now are the down power lines. If you don't have to go out, stay home, but make sure you have plenty of candles and batteries because it could be a full week before Bay County gets its power back. Sam?
Okay, Jay, thank you.
The incident began when the landlord tried to evict tenant Harvest Carter from his rental home. Carter's rent was more than 3 months past due, and the landlord, accompanied by police, went to the door this morning to reclaim his property and remove his former tenant. That's when someone inside the house fired a shot through the window, striking Saginaw police officer Denny Browning. Louis Reyna was in the neighborhood when the trouble began.
As I was coming down Wadsworth, there was a car in front of me, and he stopped, and as he stopped, I saw police officers. I thought it was just a normal traffic citation. And then when I saw the police weapons drawn, and they motioned us to go backwards. When the weapons were drawn, I slammed it in reverse.
As the hours ticked by, police readied themselves and repositioned their key officers on the scene, stationed just outside of the house, undercover. Police also appeared to be getting ready for a long standoff. Generators were brought in and utility workers were brought in to brief officers on the gas and electric setup in the house. But police say the power was probably shut off days ago for non-payment.
We have a couple of maneuvers, I guess you could call it, that we're attempting to do right now. We don't know how that's going to come out, probably another hour or so.
What kind of movement are you talking about?
Well, we don't want to get involved in tactical things. Yeah.
These pictures, where two Bay City police officers were gunned down, won't soon be forgotten. Officers Terry Jablonski and Ray Rexer were gunned down in a crossfire of bullets while investigating a routine call. Today, the Bay City Police Department is trying to conduct business as usual, but the men and women behind the badge are still picking up the pieces of their lives as they grieve the loss of two of their own. The children of the officers won't be forgotten. The city is now in the process of setting up an educational fund for the fatherless children left behind.
And unfortunately, we're probably going to have this situation occur in the future where a policeman may die in a car accident or heart attack or something and still have young children. And we're looking out for their benefit. Maybe not only college, maybe a vocational school, a training school, maybe to give them a hand and start a business at some future date. But we need to set up some ground rules and figure out where we want to go and what we want to do and take it from there.
The devastation was clearly visible the morning after the blast at Flint's Clara Barton Nursing Home, where 5 people were killed and another 14 hospitalized for burns and blast wounds. But for those who search for survivors, they've trained for situations just like this.
Large amount of damage to the building, a lot of shattered glass, walls that have caved in.
Precautions you have to take before you can get in there safely, you and your crew?
Overview the scene immediately. We do our own walk around, verify the building for our own safety, and go from there.
Biggest danger that you have to look out for?
Secondary collapses.
While Flint City and state fire investigators combed through the destruction, national investigators were standing by.
If there was some leak in a gas line, then we would get involved in it. If it was on the gas company side of the meter, we would investigate it. But it has to be determined the cause first.
While services are being arranged for the dead and the wounded are being treated for their injuries, the workers who survived the blast will need some special attention too.
I guess I tell them that, God doesn't give you too much more than you can handle. Things happen for a reason. There's nothing more that you can do with it. Pray on it.
At the age of 101, Dr. Richard Mudd of Saginaw was still working on clearing his grandfather's name. Dr. Samuel Mudd was the Maryland doctor who set the broken leg of John Wilkes Booth following the assassination of President Abraham Lincoln at Ford's Theater. Dr. Richard Mudd took up his grandfather's cause after learning of the story in 1917.
Every fiber of his being was consumed with the search for justice for his grandfather, who he believed was innocent, and we all believe he was innocent.
A military tribunal sentenced 4 people to death in the plot to kill Lincoln. 4 others, including Mudd, were sent to prison, and President Andrew Johnson pardoned Dr. Mudd 4 years later. But the Mudd family wants Dr. Sam Mudd cleared of all allegations because they say the military tribunal did not have jurisdiction over a civilian doctor.
It's just like my father. He must be thinking, if I'm not alive, would we have a better chance of winning that case? Dad always believed in the virtue and the value of publicity.
The story of Dr. Sam Mudd was only whispered about between family members until Dr. Richard Mudd read his grandfather's story.
He's carried that burden all his life, ever since he picked up a book from his father's medical desk in 1917. He was dedicated to this cause. Now, it's crushing. We have to pick up the gauntlet and carry on the fight.